Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're still on the POLITY, reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja, and I am Messi Babajide. And now we're talking about the role education plays in Nigeria's development for today, especially education policies given the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration that is just on board. And of course, to shed more light and analyzing most of these policies, with me in the studio is Aluko Joshua, Global GPF President. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
It's nice to see you.
Same here. Thank you.
All right. Let's just get into what it is straight. I'd like to talk about the struggles for Nigerian students right now, given the certain policies that has been on board now. I mean, there's been lots of, let me use our president's words, balablu. Let me use our president's words, balablu, right now. I'll start with the, of course, there's been lots of issues with previous administrations about ASU strike going back and forth.
Yeah.
Do you actually think this present administration would actually give ASU what they want?
Well, we cannot really say. It's a little so there's a lot of expectation,
Okay.
you know, looking at the past administrative systems that have come and gone. It's been a tussle all the way. So now this present administration has a lot of expectation to live up to, especially the fact that we could tell, and we all saw what happened during the elections. So now that this administration is here, we are looking at, okay, what would they do about it?
What do you mean by we could tell, or we saw what happened in the last election? What happened?
You know, there was a whole lot of tussle, power tussle, and the tension was pretty high. You know, especially between, you know, we have the APC, the PDP, and we have the PDP, and we have the Labour Party, and we also, what happened? I mean, the tension was out of this world. So now that APC is here, we are really expectant to see what they will do about it, because it's not been funny. I mean, a student that is supposed to spend 3-4 years in school ends up spending 7 years, you know, or even 8 years. And sometimes you are talking about, not even sometimes, you are talking about money, you are talking about tuition fees, and it's not pretty easy, and we all know that. So we are really looking forward to what the present administration has to offer in terms of, you know, attending to ASU and helping to limit the rate of strikes, or even eradicating it altogether, which will be fantastic. Yeah,
I feel like eradicating will do it. Before we move on, I'd like to tell our viewers at home that our phone lines are on, of course, to take your calls and join in on the conversation. And since it's education, I think everybody should be interested in this talk. Speaking of eradication, let's talk about the rate of poverty in Nigeria, and then equalizing it to education, the educational system. You have to agree with me that the role education plays in every country is quite large, and it goes far beyond what we think. It might not naturally not be just going to school alone. I mean, there are different types of ways one can actually educate each other. But then let's talk about the government policies. Start with the 500,000 naira, okay, no, 500,000 naira, the student loan.
Okay.
And immediately after the student loans came, there were lots of questions. I mean, it started with, oh, if I actually earn 500,000 naira, if I have someone that actually earns 500,000 naira in a year, I wouldn't be needing the student loans to start with. That's one. Two, the real people that actually need this loan, would they have access to it, given that everything in Nigeria, you know, you have to know someone that knows someone that knows another person. What's your take on that?
Well, it's pretty simple. We deal with this all the times. We deal with students all the times, and the truth is, if they have access to an income of 500,000 monthly, they wouldn't be needing the loan to begin with. So I really am hoping something better will come out from the government on that one, because a lot of the students that we've dealt with in the past, I mean, they barely even have income of 50,000 altogether from the family in a month. So not to talk of 500,000 in a month. And you talked about something else.
Yeah, the role education plays in Nigeria's development.
So basically, when we're talking about education, not just in Nigeria, in every nation of the world, education is the bedrock of any development and any developed country. So if you eradicate education, you are basically taking away the possibility of growth, the possibility of increase. Look at the Renaissance period. Before it happened, we had the outburst of knowledge, you know, and then we have the Aristotles and the likes. So if you want a developed society, you have to invest in education. So education doesn't just play a somewhat significant role. It plays the role because we are talking about knowledge. There's no good without knowledge. And of course, education, one of the reasons why we still have high rate of poverty in the society, in our own society, is because of lack of proper and adequate education, because people need to know, they need to have the know-how, you know, how to acquire skills, what the skills are meant for, not just, you know, skills on maintaining machines built, but who says we can't build our own machineries and have our own factories and all that, and which will actually, you know, make the society, it will increase output and make income increase. That means that purchasing power automatically increases. So, but when there's no education for that, and just like you said, education is beyond the four walls of classroom. There are different types of education, different levels of education. So, education is not something you negotiate with. It's something we invest in. So basically that's it.
But given that you said something about innovative Nigerians and all of that, you have to agree with me that anything the Nigerian government has a hand in, there's a way it goes. But then look at the entertainment, for example. That one, we have the free choice to actually maneuver and do it anyhow we like. But then in the educational part, and take the increase in tuition fee, for example, I think that's one of the things you do over at your place, where you get to of course sponsor students that are unable to so now imagine I've gone through 3 years in school, and then at my 4th year in school there's an increase in tuition fee and I can barely feed. I mean, how does that even happen? What do you think the government should be able to do in this case? Because it looks like we're going to have lots of dropouts very soon if we're not careful. And I remember I had a discussion with one of my colleagues, and she said when her sister was in Unilag, she paid maybe 25,000 or I don't know even if it was up to 25,000, and now we're looking at over 200% increments. Now that's a lot given the economy we have in Nigeria. So do you think the Nigerian economy is actually even, do they even want people to go to school at this point?
Well, I know it's that policy, the increment in school fees, has really affected a lot of people. I have a lot of students who were doing okay before now, and now they are reaching out to us asking for help. You know, so I can see the whole thing. We are currently trying to make certain petitions on that, because I mean, if the government probably have their own reasons for doing that. However, it is up to us to reach out to the government, which we are already doing, to reach out to the government to see how this policy can be a point of equilibrium. Because I mean, we want the students to go to school, and I believe that the government themselves want the students to go to school. I have friends in the government also, and I know that they want education, but I think what we need to do is to have a proper talk with the government and reason these things out. Sometimes some of these policies are made and certain considerations might be left out. So I believe that once this is done and a point of equilibrium is achieved, then we can have the youths actually go to school, because you see, when they don't go to school, there's a problem. We should just know that. So is it just the youth you are focusing on, or let's say we have people that there's something they call never too late, and then I'm over 40 and I want to go back to school? But before we continue, let's quickly take this call. Good afternoon, thank you for calling the Polity.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon. Please, can you step away from your TV set or reduce the volume?
All right,
please, your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Kaduna.
All right, now please join in on the conversation in 60 seconds. Nice to see a lady call us. Amina, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, please join in on the conversation. Hello? All right, I think Amina doesn't know who or where she called. She just bumped into the conversation. Maybe network. So I was saying, for instance, for people that are actually old and want to get back to school and can barely afford that, are you actually open-minded about all these kind of people, or is it just strictly youths that you are mainly focusing on? Okay, so basically for now, we focus on the youths. But of course, there's the possibility, we call it adult education. Adult education, So there's the possibility to dive into that in the nearest future. However, for now, we, our own organization, focus on
youth, especially those in tertiary institutions. And just like you said the other time, the policy, the recent policy that has sparked up hike in tuition fee prices has really affected a lot of students already. They are already panicking. There's a lot of panic out there, and you cannot but feel sympathy for these students, because you can see the genuineness in them to want education, to want to complete their education, to have a better life. I mean, we all know what the fuel price is saying at the moment and all that. So what we can do is to plead with the government to review this so that it could favor this youth, actually, because the last thing we want is to have youth who don't have things that they are occupied with, and who are not getting the accurate knowledge, because you see, they will get knowledge from somewhere. It's just a matter of what kind of knowledge it is.
Sorry, I'm a curious cat. I'd like to delve into the sponsorship kind of. Is it, do you just sponsor tuition fee? Because now I like the fact that you mentioned the fuel hike, because you cannot probably totally eradicate. Something happened somewhere on Sunday where a student needed to go to school, and then some persons actually offered to pay a tuition fee. Yes, fine, they paid a tuition fee, but then the lead person had to come out to say, oh, it wouldn't just be about tuition fee. You have to actually make this person comfortable to say, oh, focus on school alone and not bother about other things.
Very true.
And now we know the state we are in Nigeria, given the fuel hike, the electricity tariff. There's lots of increments here and there. People can barely even feed. There's shortage of food. Food prices they have skyrocketed. So is it just tuition fee or the general well-being of the students you actually focus on, given the economic state of Nigeria right now? I mean, one has to be mentally fit before you can say you want to go to school and talk about psychology.
You have to have some form of food in your belly.
Exactly.
So yes, we focus primarily on the tuition fees. Okay. However, we take certain factors into consideration, like you're talking about upkeep money, no matter how little. You're also talking about accommodation. You're talking about certain things, not for them to become so comfortable, but at least for them to be able to focus. They also would have to exercise some form of discipline. But for them to focus in school. And sometimes when we first started initially, that was back in 2015, we thought, oh, once we pay their school fees, that's it. But it didn't take us long to realize there's more to that. I mean, some of them are so downright impoverished, if I could use that word, that they don't have anything. I mean anything, and they are just about to leave the school. Sometimes they've left, but then we tell them to go back. And then we have to pay the tuition fees. Then we have to, sometimes we have to, in fact, we decided to even start acquiring outfits for them, because some of them don't even have what to wear. I mean, you can see a guy putting on one shirt for a whole week. So it's that bad. So it's something very touchy if you look at it, and it tells a lot about our society. But the beautiful thing is, we've seen Nigerians stand up to this task and decide to go all out in helping the students. And it's been remarkable to see someone that you don't know from somewhere ready to put down almost everything that they have to see other students have a shot at life. And that is what humanity is all about.
Yes.
And so that is what we are hoping to see from this present administration, and which will really change the cards for us as a nation.
Okay. Sorry to question. Are we looking at a synergy between you and the federal government right now? Because it looks like, and are you a body or part of the ASU? I mean, it looks like I would like to say maybe there's a synergy between what you want and ASU wants. You want people to go to school, they want a better infrastructure for students and all of that.
That's ASU, right?
Yeah, that's ASU. But then
well, when there's a common interest, then there's a ground for common play. So it's a common interest. I mean, if you want better infrastructure, if you want better pay, if you want better working conditions, and which will in turn favor the students, then I don't believe anything is wrong with that. So it's just a matter of understanding and share of values between us to themselves and the government. I mean, also we are helping the students, so we cannot say that we don't know about that, or we are not going to be a part of that. So although we are not part of ASU, it's an NGO. However, we support anything that would help the students and give them a better life. Yeah.
All right, please hold it. Let's quickly take the call. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for calling the Polity. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon here in the Federal Capital Territory. We don't know if you're calling from outside the country. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Oh, I'm calling from Taraba.
Okay, all right. Your name?
Oh, I'm Gonidi Robinson.
Okay, all right. Please join in on the conversation then.
I just want to greet you people only.
Okay. Oh, all right. Thank you very much for greeting us from Taraba. All right. Have you actually thought about skills acquisition for most of those people you support? I mean, it's going to get to a point where what if something happens and then they still have some friend for themselves? You cannot totally eradicate the fact that you do not just catch fish for people. You have to teach them how to, of course, fish.
Absolutely. So yes, I think skill acquisition is inevitable.
Okay.
So we started that in 2017. Then we majored on it basically from 2019 up to date. So because we discovered that the world is fast evolving, and so we don't want you to finally go to school and then still be dependent afterwards. So what we do is we go beyond just paying their school fees. We teach them how to make money, basically financial education. We give them financial education because financial education is quite different from the formal education. So we teach them financial education, then we teach them skills, and we give them knowledge that are relevant to the present day economy of the country. When you're talking about products that can actually sell, then we teach them the market system, how to operate in the market system, and we have departments, we have groups for that, and we have organizations that work with us in carrying out that task. Like the one we're having coming up in October, we'll be giving over 500 students certain form of training, skill acquisition training with certificates, so that will help them, and some of them will also be established in trade. So
so as we round up, I'd like you to talk about academic advancements in Nigeria as a whole. Do you actually think we're one step forward? And this year's African Child's Day, we talk about digital, the world is going digital. Do you actually think Nigeria is ready to go digital when it comes to education and development?
Okay, so I will take it from your first point where you talked about academic advancement in the country. I would say yes, there is. There is. Our youth, our students are taking they are taking the lead when it comes to academics, and that cannot happen if a lot of work has not been put in by the teachers and lecturers. So kudos to them for doing a fantastic job for our students. So yes, there's been academic advancements. Now we have Nigerians who are leading academically, not even only Nigeria, but even when they go out there, it's like nobody can stand us, and that's beautiful. We have students. We have I was reading the news not so long ago where I think Covenant University became, I think, first in Africa or something.
I know we have about 3 universities in Nigeria.
Exactly. Then we have I think secondary school students from I don't know, one this other popular I think, I don't know, I don't want to guess, but and all of them they wrote JAMB, and they had, I think, over 300.
Oh, it's a deeper life secondary school. Yes, it's a deeper life secondary school.
That is advancements academically, So then when you talked about the next question, digital, yes, our youth, because now when you're talking about education, you are primarily talking about the youth and the kids. Our youth in Nigeria at the moment are very much ready to go digital.
Sorry, all that talk. Let's quickly take the score. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay, we lost that call. You said our youths are ready to go digital.
Yes, they are very much ready to go digital. As a matter of fact, I believe all they need now is the opportunity.
Okay.
They need the opportunity. Trust me, I've mingled with thousands of youths from different schools, different places, even secondary school. It's amazing what they know about the digital world. I mean, they have gone way ahead, you know, and I'm excited about that. So for me, it's not really a question of whether they are ready to go digital. I think it's a question of how much are we going to allow them, how we're going to equip them to go digital, because these people, their minds are running at 1,000,000 miles per second, and they know how to operate these things. So going digital is not really for me a question. It's a matter of how much can we equip them, and what can this lead to in terms of development and growth for our society and for our economy, if they are given the chance to explore themselves.
Okay, all right. I'd like you to leave our viewers with a final note as we take a break right now.
Okay, all right. For everyone watching out there, first of all, I will say thank you for listening, thank you for joining us, and thank you for having us here. I just want to say education is not negotiable. So whatever you do, get education, get understanding, and do not give up on your dreams. And to our government, we know that you've been doing a lot, and we implore you to look more into education and kindly make better policies for us, or much more convenient policies that will enhance, you know, education for our youth. I know you want our country to be a better place, and we want the country to be a better place also, and the youths are a pivotal part of this process. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Aluko. It was really nice to have you on the program. I'm sure our viewers would like to have you one more time, of course, to talk about probably the steps you've taken forward, and a number of people. If possible, we could have one of your students share their experience with us and how far their growth has been, but then that would be some other time. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you too.
All right, our viewers at home, this is where we end this part of the Polity. After the break, we'll be joined by another guest, of course, to talk about more on the Polity. Stay tuned, don't touch it there.